Hello guys, today we'll see a tutorial about how you can integrate Azure Monitor with ServiceNow. As you all know, ServiceNow is an ITSM tool where you can channel all your alerts for your Azure services, and it can be moved to further analysis, or it can be moved to operations team so that they can do a proper troubleshooting steps. Azure Monitor already has an inbuilt feature which is called ITSM connector, which will allow you to connect to ServiceNow to specific regions. But this tutorial, now we are just focusing on the regions which is not currently supported. So we will be utilizing Azure Logic Apps in order to forward the alerts from Azure Monitor to ServiceNow. So we'll be following these 5 steps to complete this tutorial. First step would be to set up an ServiceNow development environment, which I will explain you in the next slide. And then as a second step, you need to set up Azure Logic Apps, where we will design a flow that will absorb the alert from Azure Monitor, and then it will feed into the ServiceNow. And third step is we will set up a Azure Monitor. I already have a sample machine, virtual machine, Windows machine that is running. We will just set up an CPU parameter. If it goes more than 50%, an alert will be triggered. And then as a final step, we will check this whether the incident has been created in the ServiceNow or not. So this slide will just focus how you can set up a ServiceNow development environment. I already have environment set up for me. So first you can create an account in the ServiceNow developer portal, which is the URL. I will also post this URL in the description. It is free, but you'll have to use it only for testing environment. And you can set up an instance in any available region. So normally I assume that this free instance will be set up only in the available region. So you can create a new instance in any of the available regions. Once the instance is available, you can create an admin account where you need to give proper permission to create tickets within this ServiceNow instance. So I have mentioned this URL, which is also in the description, where you can verify what are the regions that are supported to integrate with ServiceNow. Okay, let's go into the demo now. First, we will see how you can create an Azure Logic Apps. So we will create a Logic Apps here. It does not need any specific additional requirements. We can just create a plain Logic Apps, and once we create a Logic Apps, we'll just further design how the flow needs to be happen, which I'll show it now. So I'm just using an existing resource group, and I'm going to name the Logic App now. Let me name Azure Monitor to Snow. Oops. I'll leave the region as East US, and I'll leave everything else as default. I'm just creating the Logic Apps now. So the Logic app has been created. So we'll just go and further design how the flow needs to happen. Within Logic Apps, we just need to go to Logic App Designer, and here we just need to set up how the flow should happen. So here within Logic App, we already have a predefined templates that can handle the Azure Monitor. So how the Azure Monitor will move the alert to Logic App, we can define it here. If you have to click on this Azure Monitor, then you can use this template. So this is the first step in the Logic App, where it should act when an HTTP request is received. So once we integrate Azure Monitor with Logic App, what it will do is the Azure Monitor will send a JSON file when an alert is triggered, and using the JSON file, we can further filter this file and send the requested detail to ServiceNow. So here you can add an additional step. We can add an additional step called parse JSON if you want to filter specific type of data. But here today, we are just going to set up only the ServiceNow connection. So I'll just go ahead and do the second step as an ServiceNow connector creation. So since I have already used the ServiceNow connection before, it's just turning up in the recent. If you're doing it for the first time, you can search for ServiceNow connection in the search tab. So within ServiceNow, you can select the option called create record. So this is where you need to create a connection. Let me zoom it up for you. So here you can give any connection name. So I'll just give LogicApps Snow, and here is where you need to give your instance URL. You will be given with a specific URL once you create an instance in ServiceNow development environment. So that URL you can paste it here, and then we have to give username and password. So let me give the URL and username password. So I've given the URL and username, and I'll be giving the password now. I'll just go ahead and create it. As I mentioned when I was in the PowerPoint, you need to create an user account within the ServiceNow, and you should also give appropriate permissions for that account to get the ticket created within the ServiceNow. So I'll just show how the user should look like. So this is the Azure Logic App account which I've created within the ServiceNow for the ticket creation. You can see we have to give these details, and we have to give specific roles for that account to get the ticket created in the ServiceNow. Let's go back to the Logic App and see whether the ServiceNow connection is created. As you can see, the ServiceNow connection is created now. So now we just need to set up further steps for further parameters so that the ticket gets created correctly in the ServiceNow. So first we need to set up what type of record we need to create. So let me type it. I need to create an incident. So I've put an incident here. And next parameter, I have to put a caller name. So here I have already created this account in ServiceNow, so I'll use that same user. And next I want to set up a description. Before that, I'll set up a short description as well. So here you can get the data from the body of HTTP request. So I will search for description, and I will also add one more parameter, which should be description. I will map again this with description. So how this works is, so whenever if you see this JSON body schema, like this is the default JSON file that will be pushed from Azure Monitor to Azure Logic Apps. So here you can see there will be number of values that will be present here, and from this value we are just picking a parameter called description, which I will show it right now. Yeah, so you can see this is the description that will be posted to this ServiceNow. So we can set up this description when we are creating and setting up the Azure Monitor alert. So I think we are good here. Let me go ahead and save this flow. Okay, so let's move to Azure Monitor now. So first we'll set up an alert rule that will get triggered. From within alert rule, I'll create an action group that will push the alert to Logic App. So I just have only one virtual machine, so that I'll select that virtual machine, and then we are going to monitor the parameter CPU percentage. So in condition, you just need to select the percentage CPU. So here I'll just select as an 50 percentage. So whenever the average of CPU goes more than 50 percentage, this alert will be triggered. And I'm just going to reduce this aggregation to 1 minute just for this tutorial purpose, so that we can see an instant alert when the CPU percentage is more than 50 percentage for a continuous 1 minute. So I think we are done here now. So here I'm going to add an action group. So I'm going to create a new one. I am selecting a resource group. Here I'll just put some name. I think we don't need any notifications here. Notification is just if you want to set up an email based notification or SMS or any kind of push or voice kind of notification. But here we are just gonna take an action that whenever an alert is triggered, it should go to Logic App. So here you can select a Logic App. I'm going to name this okay, this is a resource group which I created. Okay, now I'll try to give the name again. Okay, looks like we just need to select the Logic App first before giving the name. Okay, I think we are good here. Let me create this action group. Along with that, we'll also create an alert. Okay, the Logic App action group has been created. Now I'll just put alert rule name and some description. So I'm just giving some description that will fix. I'm just giving some description that will be updated in the ServiceNow. Let me create this rule. Okay, so the rule has been created now, and now what I'll do is I'll log into the VM that was created, and I'll just use a tool to increase the CPU percentage. Okay, I'm right now within the VM, and I'm just going to increase the CPU percentage by using a tool called CPU stress. And let's wait for a few seconds, and you can see here the CPU percentage is getting increased. I will also put this activity level to busy. I guess that should elevate the percentage. So we'll just wait for a minute so that we get this alert triggered in the Azure Monitor, and we should also see the same in LogicApp as well as in ServiceNow. Okay, as you can see here, we have an alert that is get triggered based on our configuration. You can see the alert parameter. Since it went beyond 50%, we have this alert got triggered. And if you're going back to LogicApp, we can see that this alert trigger has been pushed to LogicApp, and LogicApp has created a ticket in the ServiceNow. I'm just checking whether all the steps that has been completed is successful or not. And if you're going back to the ServiceNow, we should be able to see that new ticket has been created with whatever the details that we have entered in the LogicApp section. Okay, so you can see this ticket which was created by Azure Logic Apps account, which we have entered in the LogicApp steps, and we can also see this description that we have updated in the Azure Monitor alert. So as you can see, we can utilize this Azure Logic App as an integration between Azure Monitor and ServiceNow. And this is just one example where you can create an incident from Azure Monitor for Azure Monitor to ServiceNow. But we have other record types as change request. We have service request, and other type of records can also be created. And also one more note is it has all the parameters that are available within the ServiceNow. So whatever the parameter we need to have flow from Azure Monitor alert to ServiceNow, that can also be entered here. We just entered only limited parameter like sort description, and color, but there can be a multiple parameters that can be flown from Azure Monitor to ServiceNow. And secondly, we also have this ITSM connector that can be used from directly from Azure Monitor to ServiceNow, which I will demonstrate in a different video. I hope this has been useful. You can use this method when your ServiceNow region is not supported as an ITSM connector, and this can come in handy in order for you to monitor your Azure environment and take necessary steps. For example, the CPU alert now we have just created, it can be further troubleshooted and resolved in a timely manner. So I think that's all for today, folks. We can see more in the next videos. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you.